I think the challenge with all the applications, even though it is blamed on council, is the time. Malanid Senior was talking earlier about us not filing responses. They are there, but they are not before the court because of when we were served. So even the responses to this application have just been served upon us. We will simply make our application on the basis of what the law provides, because we believe this court has dealt very clearly and settled matters of scrutiny. My Lord, the application is the application that is before you, the application dated the 13th of November 2017. It is supported by the affidavit of the second petitioner. We are seeking the following orders at paragraph 3 of the application, that the second respondent be compelled to give access to and supply to the court and to the parties the following documents, information, and data that is in the exclusive possession of the second respondent. We're asking for copies of minutes, all plenary deliberations of the second respondent relating to the fresh election from 1st September 2017 to 31st October 2017, both days inclusive. We're asking for copies of all internal memos prepared, issued, and or circulated amongst the commissioners and or the secretariat staff of the second respondent relating to the conduct of the fresh election from 1st September 2017 to 31st October 2017, both days inclusive. We're also asking for the full and unredacted KPMG audit report on the voter register, including all sections of the report that have not been made publicly available. This should include the chapter on security and penetration tests on the register of voters. My Lord, if I may address you on the basis for that particular prayer and on the basis of what this court has decided before, an application for scrutiny must be founded on the petition itself. These factors have been pleaded in the petition and form the grounds upon which the petition itself is made. My Lords, a major ground of the petition is that the first and the second respondents did not operate within the law. We have made complaints and allegations that there was internal rife within the second respondent. There was infighting within the second respondent, matters that have spilled into the public domain have not been denied and are not disputed. My Lord, as an example of the matters that are within the public domain and which the first respondent or the second respondent cannot take back and now refuse to give access to their documents are, for instance, the public resignation of Commissioner Dr. Rosalind Akombe. When that matter came out publicly, the first respondent issued a public address admitting the matters that are stated in the memo by Dr. Roselyn Akombe, and therefore opening the matter up to the public for questioning. It is therefore only right or in the interest of justice that the parties should be allowed to have a look at all the deliberations of the first and the second respondents in their decision-making, and to consider the issues that were publicly admitted, made available, or exposed to the public by the first and the second respondents. My Lords, the request that all the minutes be made available together with all the memos then takes care of the argument or the complaint by the respondents that there has been a selective production of evidence before this court. We want the full picture. On the prayer for the full and unredacted KPMG audit report on the voter register, my Lord, one of the grounds of the petition relates to the identification of voters by biometric means or alphanumeric. And these are matters that were covered in the audit report that was done by KPMG against the voter register. Those tests are relevant to the questions before this court in the petition. Prayer number 4 is that the second respondent be compelled to avail for scrutiny all the secure digital or SD cards from the KIMS kits that were used, unused, or expected to be used in the fresh election, whether deployed or not. My Lords, the SD cards hold the information, including the voter register, the number of voters who turned up to vote. One of the questions that is before this court, or one of the allegations that has been made, is that there was tampering with the results and the returns that have been made by the second respondent. In support of the application, my Lords, we have filed returns that were obtained by observers from the field, and which, in comparison to returns that have been filed or were publicly displayed in the public portal by the second respondent, are at variance. There are also returns that show alteration of the numbers. The only way to verify the accurate numbers of persons who were alleged to have turned up to vote or who were captured is in the KIMS kit, which is the primary instrument with the voter register. My Lord, from the KIMS kit, or from the SD cards retrieved from the KIMS kit, we have already said we will be able to see the number of voters who were identified using their fingerprints, the total number of voters identified using AlphaSearch, and the total number of voters identified using document identification. Together with this, this can be compared to the Forms 32A that we have also asked should be made available. As well as the original KIMS supervisor validation forms used on 26 October 2017. Those are the prayers at number 10 and 11. They go hand in hand. Number 4, number 10, and number 11. We are asking that the second respondent be compelled to avail for scrutiny and audit the results transmission system server logs between 22nd October 2017 to date. This is expected to show the number of KIMS kits that were functional on 26th October 2017, the logs from the KIMS kit showing voter turnout, because these can be compared, the time when results were transmitted, and any recorded incidents. My Lord, again, this has been pleaded in the petition, and the evidence that has been placed before this court shows discrepancies, shows evidence of manipulation, and the only way to ascertain the true position or to verify the facts that have been pleaded in the petition is through a scrutiny and audit of the result transmission system server logs. Number 6, we have prayed that the second respondent should be compelled to avail for scrutiny all the secure digital SD cards from the KIMS kits, particularly of the following polling stations. Murang'a County, we have listed 10 stations, and Garissa County, we have listed 19 stations. My Lord, attached to the petition, to the notice of motion, and also to the evidence in the petition, are returns, forms 34A filed that were obtained by observers from the field, as well as forms 34A that were posted in the public portal by the second respondent, which show discrepancies. In respect of the ones for Murang'a County, my lords, the evidence that we have is that the numbers that are on those forms 34A do not tally with the numbers that were published in the forms 34B or in the portal by the second respondent. In respect of Garissa County, my lord, the forms that we have exhibited all show alterations that are evident by hand. Such that what was recorded in the forms 34A originally is not what was finally posted. by the second respondent. I'm just wish to point an example. My Lord, at page 91 of the notice of motion, perhaps we could start with page 86. Page 86 is an example of a Form 34A from ASK Showground Polling Station. My Lord, a casual look at the form there shows that the original number of the votes, for instance, that were given to the third respondent was 72, but a 3 has been added before the 72. At the end, we have total valid votes cast. The original number was 74, but the form that we have now shows a 3 has been added to make it 374. At page 85, a different example. It is clear that the result that had originally been recorded for the third respondent was 145, but the 3 has been overwritten to have 345. Similarly, in the total number of valid votes cast, at the end, you can see it was 148. The 1 has been altered to read 348. With the Garissa forms, that is the same case, where all the forms have been altered. The only way to verify the actual number of votes that were cast or recorded, or the number of persons who turned up to vote, is through a scrutiny of the records in the KIMS kits. For this reason, we are also asking, number 7 goes together with number 6, that alongside the scrutiny of the SD cards, the records in there, there should be a scrutiny and audit of the originals, Forms 34A and 34B, in respect of the polling stations that have been listed for Murang'a County and for Garissa County. My Lords, in light of what has been discovered in respect of Murang'a County and Garissa County, we have asked the court to conduct and allow for a random sample audit and scrutiny of SD cards from KIMS kits across all polling stations. We have listed those as Makadara, Navakolo, Mumias West, Mumias East, Wajir North, Wajir East, Tarbaj, Eldas, Wajir South, Balambala, Ijara, Fafi, Dadaab, Kitui Central, and Masinga.
We can see them. You don't have to read all of them.
Very well, my Lord. And my Lord, a random sample audit or scrutiny will allow the court to make a determination as to whether what has been shown, the discrepancies that are shown in number 6 were random or prevalent. My Lord, for number 9, we have prayed that the KIMS kits themselves be availed together with SD cards and the SIM cards for the following polling stations. They are 5. The reason being that the images that were transmitted or alleged to have been transmitted from those KIMS kits cannot and could not have originated from those KIMS kits. Those images we have given and shown in the affidavit are at variance with what is expected to be produced from a KIMS kit. Number 12, we have prayed that the second respondent do avail for scrutiny all original polling station diaries. Again, every incident is required to be recorded in the polling station diaries. For instance, where voters were identified using any other means other than their biometrics, that should be recorded in the polling station diaries, and therefore it is necessary to compare what is recorded in the polling station diaries with the returns that are filed and in the KIMS kits. Number 13, we're praying for a random sample scrutiny and audit of Forms 32A against the KIMS supervisor validation forms and KIMS kits records in SD cards in the respective polling stations. Again, the rationale for this is that there is supposed to be consistency between what is recorded in the KIMS kit. The Forms 32A should be there matching what is recorded in the KIMS kit as those who could not be identified in any other way or through their biometrics. And the polling station diaries would also show the same record. We have prayed for all the original Forms 34A, Forms 34B, and Forms 34C. These are returns that, in any case, the second respondent is required to avail by law. And number 15, we're asking that the FTP server logs be availed. These will show the time the returning officers transmitted the Forms 34B and the user accounts that transmitted Forms 34B. As part of our evidence, we have shown that there were instances where returning officers transmitted results hardly 15 minutes after 5 p.m. Going by the second respondent's own manual of what should happen at the end of voting, it is not possible that results could have been transmitted, votes counted within 15 minutes, votes counted within 15 minutes of close of the polling station, things verified, and the results transmitted. It is for that reason that we ask the server logs be made available for scrutiny. Number 16, we're seeking the printouts and/or electronic copies of all the electronically transmitted results, including printouts of all copies of Forms 34B from the 291 constituencies. Number 17, we're asking for a certified copy of the voter register used on 26th October 2017. The reason for this is that the total number of voters that has been availed or made public by the second respondent has kept changing. There is therefore no consistency as to what is the accurate number of total of the voters that are registered. Number 18, we're asking that GPS coordinates for all the polling stations, including a certified list of the KIMS kits deployed and the serial numbers, as well as the name and coordinates of the polling station at which it was deployed, be availed. The mobile network operations base stations, the call detail records for the KIMS kits, the list of authorized RTS users, and the users' auditory logs from 22nd October to date. The service level agreements with Safaricom, Airtel, and Telcom, the transaction logs and the biometric statistics of all voters identified by the KIMS kits. My Lord, the rationale for the prayer under number 18 is based on the allegation that has also been made that polling stations were changed arbitrarily from where they were supposed to, from the gazetted areas. Again, with respect to, for instance, I wish to comment a little on the service level agreement with the various providers between Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom, and OT Mofo. These agreements will show what the various providers, what agreements was made with the various providers and what they were expected to deliver, to be compared to what the second respondent has made available. And then finally, we pray that in addition to facilitate the fast scrutiny of the logs and the data within the limited time frame available, that the court do make an order allowing for the copying of the logs and the data. My Lord, the concern is always time and practicality. By allowing for copying, this will enable the scrutiny of these documents and the logs go much faster than if read-only access is given. We are looking for ways to ensure that the court is able to conduct a scrutiny within the shortest time available. My Lord, the application just to conclude on the grounds as stated, this court has already ruled before that the basis for a right to scrutiny must be founded on what is pleaded, by way of the pleadings and the affidavits. Everything that we have prayed for is in our pleadings and is supported by the affidavits filed in support of the petition. And in the petition itself. My Lord, we refer you to this court's decision in the Gatirao Peter Munya versus Dixon Mwenda Kidinji case. We also refer to this court's decision in the Raila Odinga 2017 case, in which the court once again went through the grounds and the considerations for granting an order for scrutiny, which is founded also on the Article 35 right that of the Constitution, that every citizen has the right of access to information that is held by the state, and by another party. Section 4 of the Access to Information Act.
You should be winding up. Your time is up.
I will wind up, my lord. And then finally, my lord, the application for scrutiny is in line with the second respondent's obligation under Article 27 of the IEBC Act, which is to publicize and publish information regarding its within its mandate, sorry. Just to read that properly, that the Commission shall publish and publicize all important information within its mandate affecting the nation. This is information within the second respondent's mandate. It is important for the determination of the matters before this and how it conducted its mandate on 26th of October, 2017.
Thank you. Before you sit down, Ms. Soweto, just for, you've talked about practicability. Where would the marked register be found? Under the diaries, the what? The election diaries. Where would they be found?
My lord, in accordance with the second respondent's own directions to its returning officers, at the end of polling, the presiding officers are supposed to deliver the polling station diaries and these documents to the returning officers, and the returning officers deliver these also to the constituents, to the National Tallying Center. So we expect them to be here in Nairobi as part of the returns that were filed or submitted by the returning officers and the presiding officers. And, my lord, at the two application we have annexed, it is at page 125. It was a quick reference guide for presiding officers during the election.
Sorry, page what?
Page 125, it's at page 125. It runs all the way to page 144.
What is there?
It is a reference guide prepared by the second respondent for its presiding officers and what they should do. I'm looking to refer you I'm just looking for the page that shows what they're supposed to deliver, what each presiding officer is supposed to keep in a box, and what is to deliver to the returning officer, and which is then delivered.
Very, very well. You can do that in your rejoinder. Maybe the IEBC lawyer will tell us where those documents are. Unless you have anything else, I would be happy if you would sit down.
Very well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who is the first respondent?
Yes, my lord, I'm for the first respondent, but since the ABCs want to explain what the documents are, and most of these scrutiny documents